What's up, football fanatics? If you thought you knew the full story of Shader Sanders' wild rookie season with the Cleveland Browns, buckle up, because what we're about to break down is going to blow your mind. And trust me, by the time we're done here, you're going to have a whole new perspective on what's really happening in Cleveland. So smash that like button right now, drop a comment with your hottest take, and let's dive into this absolute roller coaster. Picture this, Draft Night 2025. The lights are bright, the cameras are rolling, and everyone's watching to see where Shader Sanders, son of the legendary Coach Prime, is going to land. First round? Second round? Try the fifth round, folks. 104th overall. The Cleveland Browns scooped him up after 31 other teams passed on him not once, not twice, but multiple times. Can you imagine the shock? This is a guy with elite football IQ, ridiculous athleticism, and ice-cold composure under pressure. Yet there he sat watching his name scroll down further and further on that draft board. Analysts were stunned. Fans were confused. And you better believe Shader was feeling that chip on his shoulder grow heavier with every pick that wasn't his name. So what happened? Why did he fall that far? Some people blamed team needs, others pointed to inconsistencies in his college tape, and there were whispers, those skeptical whispers about whether he could really make the jump to the NFL. But here's the thing, that draft night humiliation? That became fuel. That became the fire that would define his entire rookie campaign. Fast forward to Cleveland. Shader walks into a quarterback room that's already crowded. You've got veteran Joe Flacco, the guy who's seen it all and done it all, and you've got fellow rookie Dillon Gabriel. Sanders? He's third string. Dead last on the depth chart. For a competitor like him, that's not just a position, that's a statement. That's the organization telling you, hey kid, wait your turn. But the NFL doesn't care about your plans. The NFL has its own timeline. October rolls around and boom, Flacco gets traded to the Cincinnati Bengals. Suddenly, there's one less body in front of Shader. Then week 11 hits, and Dillon Gabriel goes down with a concussion. Just like that, the keys to the franchise are in Shader Sanders' hands. Third string to starter in the blink of an eye. No warning. No gradual transition. Just pure, unfiltered, sink-or-swim NFL football. And let me tell you, Shader didn't just survive. He fought. His numbers? 1,400 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, plus 169 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown. Now, I know what you're thinking. Those stats don't exactly scream Pro Bowl. And you're right. They don't. But here's what the numbers don't tell you. They don't tell you about the absolute chaos he walked into mid-season. They don't tell you about facing some of the most ferocious defenses in football with limited preparation. They don't show you the guts it took to stand in that pocket, knowing you're getting hit, knowing the offense is struggling, and still delivering. He finished 3-4 as a starter. Not great. The Browns ended the season 5-12. Definitely not great. But then, just when critics were ready to write him off completely, something incredible happened. Shader Sanders got named to the Pro Bowl. Yeah, you heard that right. The Pro Bowl. He's replacing Drake May from the New England Patriots on the AFC roster, and he becomes the first Browns quarterback to make the Pro Bowl since Derek Anderson back in 2008. That's 17 years, people. 17 years. Now Shader's response? Pure class. He thanked God, thanked the coaches, thanked his teammates, thanked the fans. He said, and I quote, "I'm beyond excited and extremely grateful for all the love and support from the coaches, players, and fans. This wouldn't be possible without the support behind me. Still plenty of work to do." That's humility. That's maturity. That's a young man who understands this is just the beginning. But of course, because this is the NFL, and because Shader's last name is Sanders, the haters came out in full force. ESPN's Marcus Spears and other analysts started throwing shade, saying the selection was more about marketing than merit. They pointed to Joe Burrow, C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, all guys who didn't make it this year despite better overall numbers. And look, I get it. The optics are messy. His dad is Coach Prime. The name carries weight. But let's pump the brakes on the hate train for a second and talk about what actually happened down the stretch. Week 14 against the Tennessee Titans. Shader throws for 304 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's not luck. That's not daddy's name getting you stats. That's dissecting a defense, reading coverages, and making plays when it matters. Against the Buffalo Bills, a legitimate Super Bowl contender, he kept the Browns competitive. He showed poise that most rookies don't have in their entire first year, let alone in a single game. Then he closed the season with back-to-back division wins. First, he outdueled Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then he went toe-to-toe with Joe Burrow and beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Those aren't gimme games. Those are statement wins. So yeah, maybe his overall stat line doesn't jump off the page. Maybe the Pro Bowl selection raised some eyebrows. But when you're a fifth-round pick who wasn't supposed to see the field your rookie year, and you end up starting 7 games, leading your team to crucial late-season victories, and earning a Pro Bowl nod, that's not just about marketing. That's about showing up when the lights are brightest and delivering. But here's where things get really interesting, and this is where Browns fans need to pay close attention. The front office hasn't committed to Shader as the starter for 2026. General Manager Andrew Berry is playing it cautious, talking about flashes of brilliance, but also room for questions. Translation, they're not sold yet. And honestly, that might be the smartest move they could make. Not because Shader doesn't deserve the job, but because the entire organization is reportedly a mess right now. Let's talk about what's really happening behind the scenes in Cleveland, because this is where the story gets dark. Multiple sources are whispering that the Browns' front office is in complete chaos. We're talking conflicting agendas, no unified vision, executives hoarding information, and full-blown feuds over the smallest operational details. There are apparently 2 factions at war. One side wants to go all in right now, making aggressive trades and free agent moves to compete immediately. The other side wants to rebuild through the draft and focus on long-term development. These aren't just disagreements. These are fundamentally opposing philosophies that have reportedly created total gridlock. And it gets worse. Players are noticing. Morale is allegedly tanking. Some staff members are reportedly looking for jobs elsewhere because they don't want to stick around for what could be a prolonged period of instability. The coaching staff is under scrutiny despite public support from ownership. Scout and decision-makers are supposedly operating without a coherent plan, leading to questionable draft picks and roster construction that doesn't make sense. Financial disagreements are adding even more tension. And the media? They're eating it up, with strategic leaks creating a constant cycle of rumor and counter-rumor that's making everything worse. This is the environment Shader Sanders is walking into as a potential franchise quarterback. A place where trust is broken, leadership is fractured, and nobody seems to know what direction the ship is actually sailing. For a young quarterback trying to prove himself, that's not just challenging. That's potentially career-damaging. So what does all this mean? It means Shader Sanders' rookie season was simultaneously a triumph and a warning sign. He proved he can play. He proved he can handle pressure. He proved he can win big games and earn respect from his peers. But he also proved that talent alone isn't enough when you're part of a dysfunctional organization. The Browns have to get their house in order. They have to decide who they are, what they want, and how they're going to build this thing. Because if they don't, they risk wasting not just Shader's potential, but the potential of everyone wearing brown and orange. Here's my take, and if you've made it this far, you know I'm going to keep it real with you. Shader Sanders is not a finished product. He's raw, he's inconsistent at times, and yes, his stats need to improve. But the kid has something you can't teach, heart. He's got resilience. He's got the ability to rise to the moment when everything's on the line. That Week 14 performance against Tennessee, that wasn't a fluke. Those division wins to close out the season, those weren't accidents. That's a competitor who refuses to be defined by where he was drafted or what the critics say. The Pro Bowl selection might be controversial, but it's also a recognition that this league sees something special in him. Whether that's fair or unfair compared to other quarterbacks is almost beside the point. What matters is what Shader does next. He's got the platform. He's got the opportunity. Now he needs the organization around him to step up and give him a real chance to succeed. And Browns fans, you've been through enough. You've watched this team break your heart more times than you can count. But maybe, just maybe, Shader Sanders is the guy who changes the narrative. Maybe he's the one who finally brings stability to the quarterback position. Maybe he's the one who leads Cleveland back to relevance. But it's going to take more than just his talent. It's going to take the front office getting their act together, the coaching staff developing a real plan, and the entire organization committing to a vision. The truth about the Browns is messy, complicated, and honestly pretty troubling right now. But the truth about Shader Sanders? He's a fighter. He's already defied expectations. And if there's one thing we've learned from his rookie season, it's that counting him out is a mistake. The journey is far from over. The story is still being written. And whether you love him or doubt him, you can't deny that he's made his presence felt. So if you're riding with Brown's breakout through all the ups and downs, all the drama and chaos, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications because we're going to be covering every twist and turn of this story. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you Team Shader, or do you think the Browns need to look elsewhere? Let's talk about it. And remember, in Cleveland, hope springs eternal, even when the truth is hard to swallow. Go Browns!